All right, ladies and gents, welcome to some more Titans League Platinum. And we see the Mayans for the very first time in Platinum. After this, there will only be one more series from the first round to be played. That would be ACCM Capwatch in another group. But I have never seen Mayans drafted or played so far in all of Platinum. So we have Mayans here from Barles to start it all off on Rocky Forest. And he loves his purple, which normally clashes with blue and red and some of the other colors. But Classicpro, his opponent here, really likes yellow. So purple and yellow, hopefully, are pretty decent. We'll stick with the player colors on this one. Classicpro goes for the Khmer. I mean, right off the bat here, just talking about Mayans, they start with the extra Vil. Their resources last longer. A really good crossbow eagle civilization. But it's just not the typical type of civ that you would see on this map. Normally what you see is we see a lot of players going for scouts. Mayans can't do that. So I'll be thinking about that as I cast it, I guess. What Barles could be planning on here. We could potentially justify a Drush and see Militia come in because the best defense against that is usually the walls. And you can't wall on the rocks. So life is a little bit difficult here. You could also see some laming with the eagle. Barles comes forward and says, "Hello, Classicpro. I'm going to steal your sheep." And there's nothing you can do about it. Classicpro just kills it. So you can only kill his sheep with a scout if the sheep is not your color. And if you run up to a sheep, usually it changes to your color because, you know, you're normally not next to the enemy right there. So that is possible. I guess Classicpro just lost all faith that he was ever going to have any control to get that and just decided to kill it. Said, if I can't have it, you can't have it either. The Khmer are sick on this map, though. I mean, being able to skip the barracks... Actually, being able to skip the barracks here is even better against Mezzo, you could argue. Because you don't really benefit from having spearmen against the Mayans anyways. And Barles, again, trying to lame, being really annoying here. And now he will try and kill the sheep, but if he does that, he'll run into the TC. Nice save there from Classicpro just to go get that. Classicpro should be able to bring in the boar as well. I don't think Barles can block that. It's annoying for Classicpro to deal with all this, but it's not really that bad. What is interesting, though, is that he has been unable to push any deer. Barles hasn't done that at all, but usually the Khmer player is pushing in tons of deer, so the eagle presence kind of denies that. Now, maybe someone could look it up for me, but Classicpro was in Platinum before, and then he ended up getting relegated. But I'm just forgetting who is in his group, and I'm forgetting how many wins he got. I remember, I think he was in Viper's group in Season 2. It could have been Season 3, and maybe he stayed alive. Maybe I'm disrespecting the guy right now. But he was very, very close, if I recall, to staying alive in Plat, maybe making playoffs in Plat. And I remember a series against Viper. I think he beat Viper 2-1. That was his biggest result in TTL. But he's that category of player who, as Barles still chases this scout. It's like nonstop. He's a category of player who's really solid, but he hasn't had that many results in the top 16. He's kind of like hanging around that 12 to 16 mark. Has never had too many top 10 jumps or anything. Okay, so apparently he stayed alive in Season 3. Okay, so stayed alive with 5 wins in Platinum. Wow. Who got relegated below him? Can you tell me that? It'll all come back to me. So that win against Viper, that was later in the seasons. Later in the season. I think that saved him. There have been instances where people get relegated with 6 wins or even 7 wins in some of these groups. So I think that does tell you a little bit. Just gives you a pretty strong idea that, like, Classicpro stayed alive, but especially with the way this group is looking right now, too, he's going to want those wins to start stacking up early because it could be tough for him this season. Oh, Vivian Sobek got relegated there, too. Okay, cool. And then there was also Fire Samara, but I think our base is mentioning from Gold? I don't know. Yeah, it was a crazy group. Actually, I remember now. So it was Classicpro, it was Vivi, it was Sobek, and then it was Tato, Viper, and Leary in the same group. Yeah, so it was a really difficult group to survive in. It always felt like we knew who the top 3 were going to be and then who the bottom 3 were going to be. Dude, Barles, the whole game, Barles has just been trying to disrupt the Khmer player from pushing in deer. This is crazy. And actually, I think that Eagle has enough HP to win the fight as well. It's going to be really close. I mean, again, normally the Khmer player pushes in 4 deer. He doesn't have to build any farms in Dark Age. He's got all these sheep saved up so he can make lots of scouts, but Barles is not allowed that here. Barles behind this hasn't pushed any deer himself either, of course. And he'll open with spears. He'll open with a range, so this will probably be archers. And the scout from Classicpro comes through. Yeah, I would say in this group, a group with Capoch, Dogao, MBL, Tato, and then Barles. A Classicpro is going to have his sights set on a round or 2 victory. So maybe the other weakest players, it's so tough to say this, is maybe like Capoch or Dogao. He's got to aim to win those sets. Maybe win against Barles here. And then avoid those sweeps. I spoke to Winchester a decent amount recently. And he pointed out that he's been doing a decent amount of training with Classicpro. So he and Vinch are very good friends. And, of course, Sal's teammates. All the Sal's players are really underrated right now. You have a bunch of, like, younger players in Sal's who are in Titans League Gold. And here comes the Eagles, the Spears, the Archers. And I apparently said the group was wrong. Okay, well, Classic T90, I'm trying to talk about all these different things instead of freaking talk about the game in front of us here, but sorry if I got one of the groups wrong. It's still early. Still very early. This group is Hera, Sato, Velez, and Nikop. Oh, okay, yeah, so I got it really wrong. Okay. All right, my bad. Thank you. Where would I be without chat? This would just go to YouTube, and then I'd have no way to correct myself, you know? So, you can wall to the edge of the map on the outside. So, Barles could kind of funnel in most of the pressure just to one area through the front. He's got a spearman here to protect. It's a mix of eagles, spearmen, and archers. Classicpro, though, has quite a few skirms. One of those eagles is weak, so that's fine for him. And the scouts make it over here. Doesn't get the Vil connects he wants. Scouts still move around, but eagles aren't really accomplishing much for Barles. It clearly seems like the long-term plan here for Barles is just to have full eagles. And not necessarily full archers. He stopped archer production, and he's just producing eagles. It's slow to produce eagles in Feudal Age, but if you conserve your mass, it could be really strong. The scouts won't have the easiest way to escape, but they'll make it through from Classicpro. Resources collected. It's pretty even here. There's just been that one kill that was from Barles on a scout. And we have an early tower from Classicpro as well, just in case the pressure comes through. But he won't be able to tower his gold then. This feels like a full feudal from Classicpro to me. Barles is clearly taking his time, and he's more of this player. Just make it to Castle Age, macro. Classicpro will be really concerned about this. Because the second you're at Castle Age, you're going to have a tougher time dealing with those eagles once it's 7 base attack with upgraded stats. I like this from Barles. I really think people need to build their lumber camps next to the gold if that's a possibility. He's done that, so this tower can actually protect both of these areas. He has his eagles looping around the backside. Classicpro will look for an engagement, but Barles saves his Vils, and now the eagles are here. And now this feels like a trap scenario. House. Could be another house, and the army has to back away from Classicpro. That was awkward, man. Classicpro did queue up a couple more scouts and skirms. That could have been way worse for him, though. Because the thing is, he's still so much army here, he could still whittle down the eagles. The thing is, it takes so much time to kill one. Now the resources for Barles are looking pretty decent. farm count coming up here from Classic Pro. Still nothing on gold, so he's far away from Castle Age. And Barles is just the type of player that makes it so difficult for the other player to do damage. I think you have to stay in feudal and still be aggressive. I don't think it's going to be easy. But you're too far away from Castle Age now to just start to save up. I would want to see, like, double stable scouts, armor, forging, bloodlines, and then just... you got to try. I don't know what more you do. You got to try to attack underneath that tower. Yeah, chat, we're not really enforcing it, but showing up to chat and asking who won a game when you can go to the TTL command and look at Wikipedia and all that, it's not great for people who don't want results discussed in chat. So again, I'm not going to have my mods like yoinky or anything, but like, it'd be great if you could look for the results yourself. That way people who want to wait to watch till afterwards don't get spoiled. Skirms and scouts get through. I mean, Classic Pro needs to do some damage at some point. Barles is clearly on the way to Castle Age. And now Barles is on the gold with the Eagles. There's really no defense here for this. So really messy times right now. Barles only has 8 on food. 8 of his villagers are inside the TC. But still, he is on the way to Castle Age and he hasn't lost a villager yet. Farms can't really be taken right now for Barles. He just has to wait. And now Classic Pro will sit underneath the tower. But what he's really lacked here, Classic Pro, is he's lacked good numbers of scouts. I think I've only seen him at a max of 5 scouts this game. And he's produced a lot of skirms. Ooh, quick walls. Sneak attack from Barles onto the wood line. And Classic Pro with house after house after house will pretty much protect here. Now, this might not last forever. But he could bring the skirms in to kill those archers underneath the tower. But now, Barles is in castle. This is all Barles has been waiting for. The second you reach Castle Age, 7 base attack on the Eagles. You can get the other upgrades as well. And all the skirms for Classic Pro are just disappearing now. It's crazy. Like, Barles never lost a Vill. It was super smooth. And now Classic Pro's on the way up without golds. This is horrible for Classic Pro. The idea initially was like skirms to snipe spearmen and snipe archers. And I think with the perfect position tower from Barles, he wasn't really sure how he could do too much damage there. Barles drops TC number 2. Over near the stone and the berries. His food eco is also very healthy. More eagles are on the way. Into the back. They're weak, though. And Classic Pro into the house. Saves the Vill. He's holding on, and he's hoping that he can go into Light Cav here. Just... It feels like Barles just has so much control right now, though. He hasn't done enough to win the game. He's only killed 1 villager, but he's got so much control. And with what I think about Barles recently, it almost feels inevitable right now until Classic Pro can get a turnaround moment. I'm waiting for it. But Eagle Warrior is now in. He loses 2 more vills on the gold. He's losing villagers on the wood line. And Classic Pro is just... he's losing too much, and he calls the GG. Look at the units created there, guys. The starting army from Barles was 3 archers, 2 spearmen. And then from that point on, he mainly produced eagles, and he was just patient. And he waited for Castle Age, and he punished Classic Pro. Now, when you go back and you look at the starting lumber camp location, this is intentional. I cannot be convinced that this is just luck, right? Because maybe this isn't the best position to actually take wood. Maybe the best position to take wood is like over here or something. I think he played some practice games or thought logically about it and was just like, I'm going to need protection at some point. I'm going to need some time. And with 1 tower, I protect both those resources, and it gives me just a little bit more time. You combine that with the way he built up the buildings, and just how patiently he moved his armies. Super smart from Barles, and he gets his first win. Now, Classic Pro is going to be regretting that many skirms. That's a pretty bad stat. But I think that many skirms is okay if you also have more scouts. Or maybe you make like 12 skirms because you need some type of a threat against the spears. And then you get more scouts out. He struggled with scout upgrades. He struggled to know where to go. But Barles just made it really difficult. This wall as well, like this here made it even twice as hard for Classicpro to find any damage in the back of Barles' eco. So res collected, looked fantastic. KD looked fantastic for Barles. And Mayans have a 100% win rate in Titans League Season 4, guys. All right, Game 2. So, I said earlier, man, we've seen so much evac. What's been wild is we've seen so much variety with evacuation. We've seen single dock. We've seen double dock. I think I even remember a triple dock. We've seen man-at-arms. We've seen scouts. We've seen archers. We've seen skirms. We've seen woad raiders. We've seen Yorumis. We've seen scorpions, mangonels, knights. I remember elephants. Like, this map has just had so much. And we got 2 hybrid civilizations here that could play it very well. Both civs, 2 of the best hybrid civs in the game. Japanese for Barles, and Persians then for Classicpro. But, like, listen, the previous game, Barles he did a fantastic job at being patient, not making much army, and waiting for Castle Age. This is not really a map that is very good for patient players because there's too many areas for the opponent to do damage to you. They could potentially do damage to you out here. They could potentially do damage to you at any woodline you choose, your gold, your stones. It's just like you have to have the perfect combination of military focus on water and on land all the time. The other thing I like about this map is, unlike some other hybrid maps, if you win water on this map, that doesn't mean you win the game, right? Like, usually if you win water on this map, you win water on this map because you didn't invest into land as much. And then you die on land because of it. Like, in the perfect world anyways, on this map, that's usually what happens. And look at Barles. So some players do this on evac. Because there's that third boar out there, they'll bring this in with their scout. So he's not laming because it's kind of his own boar. And so he'll bring in boar number 1. So he actually still has the 2 rhinos here. I personally really like that. If you do it like that and you only lose 10 HP, that's probably worth it. But also what you can do on this map is you can scout to look for the other, like, cows and whatnot around the map. Is my chat rioting right now because there's no bets for this game from any of the mods? Sorry, chat. We brought in some new mods recently to help with the bets, but, you know, life gets busy sometimes. Maybe there's no mods on the betting right now. Oh, wait, we got a prediction incoming. Okay. We got a prediction incoming. I've been told that all of the mods are currently in a work meeting. And they put their work meeting on hold. What? Wait. As your Sentry, wasn't today your work meeting with Jeff Bezos? You put that one on hold for us? Wow, what? The mods are crazy here. The mods are crazy. Turning down Bezos to set up some points for the stream. Ugh. You love to see it. Angry Jeff's in chat. Well, Doc on the backside from both. That's one thing that is expected. And Classicpro's scout didn't end up finding too many cows. The cows, I know this seems oddly specific and weird, but I spent ungodly amounts of time testing this map, so I just kind of know. The cows are never on the shoreline. The cows are always on, like, that second level. That's where you'll find them. So if you're going cow shopping or scouting, you need to go a bit deeper into the grassy terrain. But he'll wander over here. He won't see the boar. So that might tell him that Barles took that. And Barles has the extra food underneath the TC. His dock on the backside will be scouted. Barles just caught a glimpse of Classicpro's scout there, so he knows the scout's around. Wall's in his ville. If there's any civ here that would open man-at-arms, it would be Japanese. So I'm curious to see if Barles will attempt to do that. I don't think that is the case. It feels like a second lumber camp or a mill on the outside for Barles. Could kind of go for either there. Classic Pro sending Vills to the outside to do the same. There he'll go with Lumber Camp number 2. And so things should be pretty good there. 2 fishing ships for Classic Pro, 3 fishing ships for Barles. Persian docks and TCs produce a little bit faster. There's some benefits there, but this is pretty much the same build from both. Has to be. Gravy Robber. At first, I thought your name was Grave Robber. I'm not sure if Gravy Robber is better. Thank you for the Prime. And thanks for the support. See if Barles can get win number 2 here. Great scouting. He sees the lumber camp. So we knew to check for that. Now, that doesn't always guarantee the same build. But usually, this indicates at least it's not an early barracks. I think like Barles could maybe be the only civ that could go early barracks and then a second lumber camp on the outside. Other civs can't really do that, so. Scout comes through from Classic Pro. Barles has been really smart so far. We've seen a lot of games where land units go on the shoreline here, but when you wall it up, it prevents that. Oh, and Barles is laming. Sorry, Classic Pro is laming, so getting revenge from game 1. And there's just not many Vills here, guys. This, on any hybrid map, will continue to happen until either the TCs hit their shots a bit more accurately, or players... I don't know what players do. The reason this works on hybrid maps is because you put so much on wood and you have so little on food. So that's worth it from Classic Pro. That's like a 500 or 600 food lane. The TC did do damage, but just didn't do enough damage because there weren't enough arrows there, and of course some of them missed as well, so... But yeah, it's weird. They fixed TC accuracy. It's still not amazing. It's better than it was. And but again, that is a product of the build more than anything. And you have to do it there if you're Classic Pro. Wow, Classic Pro. Apologies for not showing this. So Classic Pro actually went forward dock here. I was wondering how the fire galley got here so quick. He went forward dock. Barles is trying to go galleys, or at least he was. That will become very difficult now. And there's the barracks. Now there's the stable there from Classic Pro. And Classic Pro Scout spots the towers going up from Barles on the outside, just so Barles can play it safe. And Barles is Japanese. His fish won't die quickly, but that one's at least sailing away. And he's massing his galleys towards the middle. So I think he's saving his galleys to head to go kill those fish from Classic Pro. And Barles did scout the stable as well. Crazy, right? You got water, you got land, both economically and with military. And now, like, the scouting's just so on point. Barles scouted his own res, brought in his boar. Barles scouted his opponent's lumber camp. He's now going Navy, has to defend and attack, and also knows his opponent is adding scouts. This map is so hard. Oh, Classic Pro, careful. Oh, man, villagers with a death wish. And Classic Pro keeps going, though. He will notice that. Fires from Classic Pro are actually over here. So they didn't kill the fish. They went just passing there. Barles will chase that, and Barles will have this. So this should be 2 easy kills for Barles on the fish. But we should be waiting for those scouts to show up now from Classic Pro. And there they are. So he's just waiting on that. Sailing away with his fishing ship. And I think Classic Pro will regret having not found an engagement here. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the fact that he just passed those fish didn't put Barles under the pressure he would have wanted. And Barles is using his fishing ships as tanks here. You can do this with the Japanese. The fishing ships tank the damage, and then the fire ships, even though they're outnumbered, could still take really good fights. Look, he'll do it again. And if he could land a demo or something here soon, this could be really good. It's so annoying to be Classic Pro. Because you feel as though you're not being rewarded for your numbers, but here his scouts are. Scouts could kill a Vil. The fire galleys take out the fire galley there from Barles, and nice job here from Classic Pro. Snipes a Vil, will snipe the fish, and his scouts still didn't take any hits from the spears either. Okay, so an evacuation game where both players really won't have fish. Classic Pro's resources might not look that good right now, but he's got 8 farms. He also has the mill out there with tons of food, so I think his resources are going to be better than everything implies. And Barles has the tower. He also has the spear, so those scouts will have to move away. A Classic Pro has pretty good control on water right now. The only thing he can't do is he can't freely fish, though. Funnily enough, he was just about to add one. And then Barles went, hello, and just passed right by. Feels like this could be a Cav Archer Castle Age for Barles. He's really underproducing army right now. And I said that you can't do that on evacuation. He's kind of getting away with it right now. But Classic Pro baits the scout fire with the one group so the others can come through. Now he's got 5 scouts. And his resources are still looking really good. And Barles has to work hard not to lose any vills here. I like the walling from Barles. But this still isn't an easy situation. And Classic Pro slight misclick. But is forcing Barles off of this wood line entirely. To have to chop wood here is really annoying. And even though Barles has great micro, you should still expect Classic Pro scouts to get some value. This is so good from Barles. It's 5 fires for Classic Pro, and he's taking out the docks, but he still can't fish freely because those 3 galleys are still moving around. It's really nice. Classic Pro clicks up. There's a range for him. So again, kind of feels like Cav Archers to me. Persian Cav Archers are decent. And Classic Pro just mainly fishing from this dock, doing what he can. Scouts haven't found too many kills. What a close game, guys. But, like, you got to get this win if you're Classic Pro, man. You need a win from this series. Close doesn't cut it. Close doesn't give you 40 bucks. We don't split it up if the games are somehow even. That's certainly not going to matter at the end of the group stage either. Now, the economic position for Classic Pro is actually a bit better suited for knights or camels because you have so much food. But you could still use that food to just get upgrades and produce fills. It's not bad. But when you look at this resource setup, you're kind of thinking light cav or camel, right? And Classic Pro will probably want a TC on the outside here. And probably will just leave the berries and build the TC back on the wood line. Barles cannot build the TC because he built the tower. And his Cav Archers are headed forward right now. He's got 2 already here. They head right to the wood line from Classic Pro. Classic Pro has no army yet. He's got a camel on the way. But Barles finds Vil pick number 1. I think that's going to be the end of it, though. And Classic Pro will defend for the time being. He'll drop that TC. He's on the way up. And then Barles drops this as well. So, close game. Scout's still active from Classic Pro. Still has the fires, which will eventually get rid of the docks. Barles is, like, lurking in the shadows with those galleys to eventually go kill fish, though. It will be Cav Archers from Classic Pro. So, how much Pierce Armor does Parthian add? Is it extra of 2 Pierce Armor, chat? The reason I ask is because the Japanese do +2 damage with their Cav Archers against other Cav Archers. So it feels like you get Parthian, then it's just even. Nice raids here from Classic Pro. Still can run around here. This wall was disrupted because of he had the water control. And he also has his CA here. But yeah, like Japanese CA... That's the ideal army comp for them, even long-term here against the Persians. But the Persian economy is so smooth with the faster TCs. And there we go, even a 3rd TC from Classic Pro. What a game. The outside eco from Barles is really not there. It's not as efficient as Classic Pros. Classic Pros have been working non-stop this game. And those galleys from Barles are somewhere... I found them, but I'll show you after this army moves. This army will not move for Classic Pro. He's focused on his CA here. Yeah, Barles is looking to snipe fish, but the fish are actually right here, which is funny. But it's only 2 at this point, so it doesn't really make that big a difference. 9 Cav Archers for Classicpro. 10 for Barles. Barles hasn't been to Classicpro's side in a long time here. He doesn't know anything about this. He thinks the berries are still there. Like, this is a completely different setup now. This is a smooth game from Classicpro, man. Moving around with confidence. Like, this is what he wanted the first game. He wanted his army numbers to actually count for something. Finally in a position where maybe that's the case here. He's 64 eco. Barles is at 59 with idle time right now. It's really important for Barles to get some damage in with these CA. Let's see how quickly Classicpro reacts to this. Doesn't see it. Barles saw him. Sneaks around. Classicpro saw him. That's so sick. So he saw him, and he places a house to path the CA into the TC. So he knows. And now we'll garrison. He garrisons. He drops another house, but he didn't get everything down. Ah, that's a frustrating one for him. Still has this army forward. And Barles has some potential right now because Barles has ballistics. Classicpro does not. So Barles starts to win some fights with the Cav Archers. Things could start to change. There's also a tower here too. Classicpro's army situation looking a little awkward. And now Barles is here. Barles just walked right across. And now he's into Classicpro's eco. Oh, man. This attack from Barles is disgusting, man. And I've been applauding Classicpro for the amazing boom. An amazing play to get the army out and whatnot. But what a great job from Barles to prioritize the upgrades and not focus so heavily on the eco here. Because if you just try and outboom the Persians, you won't be able to keep up. Towers is also a great play. He's got quite a few of them around. I think players are normally really resistant to building lots of towers because that's wasted stone on TCs and castles. But on a map that's this crazy, I certainly think it makes sense. So I don't think Classicpro knew his opponent had ballistics until maybe seeing that university. None of the fights made it very obvious. His own university's on the way. Barles still does not have a second TC down here. Whereas there's all of this eco from Classicpro. So Classicpro can lose some vills and he's fine. He's got a 20 vill lead now. He just needs the army side to be okay. Fly Guy, what's up? Fly Guy, if Twitch notifications are not working for you, because they're not consistent, I highly recommend joining the Discord, dude. We have if you join the Discord server, in the rules channel, if you react with a clock face, I know this sounds stupid, but if you're in there, right, that gives you notifications every time I go live in the server. So it explains it there. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. It's annoying for me when people don't get notifications about content, so. Barles ran into a tower over here as well. Barles drops TC number 3. Wow, what a game. This is so fun to watch, dude. It's just so amazing how much skill is involved here. And there's Parthian tactics. It's not cheap, but Persians are the only civ that can get that in Castle Age. So then you can at least view the Castle Age Cav Archer fights as even, which hasn't been the case. The tower probably won't offer that much protection, honestly, for Barles. Classicpro could just take that out. Oh! Oh my god, it's an absolute feast for Barles. Classicpro was going to evacuate, and Barles found him. Man, I was just going to say, the wall from Barles along the shoreline is one thing Classicpro has been missing. That's such a helpful thing on this map. That way units can't pass through like this. Or at least you get a heads up. The way Barles has set up his base, he's made it very difficult for the opponent to do damage. Ooh, but Barles does run into the TC there from Classicpro. Still, that's a pretty decent fight. These units still got some kills. Classicpro having some issues keeping up with this. He does have the CA numbers, but he just doesn't have the numbers at home right now. And a lot of that eco just went idle. These Cav Archers either need to find counter damage or they need to go home right now. And going home never feels like a valuable option because it's... You need that counter damage. So like how Barles has brought the galleys over. And the fire, too. Remember, he doesn't have a dock. But Barles is still having his own problems here. And Classicpro's massing some CA still. He still has wood. He still has gold. A lot of those units are weak. And Barles needs an answer to this now. See, like, chat, how many of you would have gone home in a panic there with that army that Classicpro had? Notice the difference, right? Like, Classicpro knows if he does that, that gives Barles space to breathe. He can't give Barles space to breathe. So he's got to wait it out, and now he's still doing the counter damage. And Barles will not get this tower up on time. The army from... Oh, my God. Barles is dropping a forward castle. Okay. It's about to get very crazy here. Classicpro doesn't have his army over here yet. It's still back over there. And now Classicpro might go home. Maybe now you go home. But is it in time? The castle's at 50%. There's like no protection for the vills. Barles, bring your CA, bro. Don't let this castle get denied. Bring your CA. It's at 80%. Nah, I think the castle goes up. It's just enough. The army is just enough to block that off. That castle will go up. What a castle from Barles! And he will kill so many CA as well with the castle fire. And by so many, I mean one. Holy crap, man. Look at the eco from Classicpro. Just an absolute panic. He has to delete so many farms. He now has to just chop wood there. He's in full evacuation mode to the outside. Barles is going to go imp? How is Barles imping, right? The guy's insane. Forward castle was clutch. It's on the TC. It does so much damage. He's got less army than his opponent. He's got less everything than his opponent, but he's imping right now. What in the world? I think it's like lack of army is actually a big issue to finish the game, though. Like, yeah, imp upgrade, cav archers, it would be great here. But when you only have 8 of them, I don't know if he's going to have enough. Classicpro should, keyword should, be able to have a lot of time to cook with this eco and get a really big castle age lead. I actually would love to see him go Rams here. It's probably too late, but if he immediately was going for Rams right here, it would be so good. The other thing that would be amazing for Classicpro is to bring Vills. Yeah. Bring Vills, and you castle drop Barles' TC. Punish Barles for not having army. You gotta punish it somehow. Your map control has to lead to something. This castle, it'll maybe treb down some of this eco, but there's not actually a lot there. And does Barles have any sense that this is coming? Can he stop this? Classicpro's eco is flying right now. He's got 120 vills. Barles has 84. Here comes Classicpro. It's got to be on his face. It has to take out a TC. It has to completely disrupt everything here. Ooh, okay. 10 cav archers against, like, 10 cav archers. 13 cav archers. Okay, the army's slightly better for Classicpro. He might not know that, though. He might be worried. He's not worried! He'll drop a castle. I think Barles may counter castle this. He will. Over here. Oh, man. Okay, so they had a lag moment. They had a pause moment. Classicpro runs underneath towers and TCs. The castles are going up. I think both will go up. Classicpro needs to click up to imp. The castle will complete for Classicpro. It could be trebbed down, though. But just the castle going up gives Classicpro so much time. He needs to complete this. And this other army still able to wander around in between towers. And Barles won't deny this. What a castle from Classicpro. So, in some instances, you might look at this castle and say it's just going to get trebbed down. But I think it's totally worth it. It gives him, like, he can give up that castle. Oh, thank God. I thought that was the imp TC. That's a handcart TC. You can give up that castle just to give yourself an extra 2 minutes to max out your eco and get your army prepared. Barles will most likely lose this TC. So then he's only on 2 TCs, and he hasn't been able to use an imp advantage yet. Handcart doesn't come in here for Classic Pro. He still has 20 eco here. I mean, if Barles gets there, could be something, but Classic Pro's got cav archers everywhere, man. Classic Pro's castle will definitely go down. I think right now you have to stay on cav archers and skirms, but eventually you need to make a switch if you're Classic Pro. And we'll see if he has the gold to switch into, like, Savar or something. But yeah, the switch is going to have to come in at a certain point. Japanese cav archers only get better. And while there are some improvements you can get right now if you're Classic Pro and he's getting those 2 techs, that's it. Actually, that's not correct. There is also heavy CA as an option, so I think he'll do that. I like the towers. I think Persians get guard tower, but I'm not exactly certain of that, so that should tell you how frequently we see this position. But still, the towers have proven to be helpful for Barles. I think it's a good move here for Classic Pro. Barles 60 pop behind right now. 60 pop behind is not great, and still has big balls of cav archers to deal with every time I look over at his base. There'll be skirms here from Classic Pro to protect. And Classic Pro's upgrades are crazy right now. He's got 50 on food, 36 on gold. Eco upgrades, military upgrades. He's playing confidently right now, guys. Now, what Barles wants is map control and then a castle towards the mid. Get a little bit more room to breathe. But Classic Pro's not exactly going to allow that right now. Barles will bring all of his army to accomplish that and get this position, but he still only has 13 cav archers. That army's not big enough. So he'll just drop the castle there. He is trying to recover. Like, he's got a lot of town centers now, and he's not saving for heavy cav archer, which is 900 food. He's just trying to bank up his vill count. But if Classic Pro were to get, like, relics right now, if Classic Pro were to really take advantage of all this map, which he kind of is with the stone and gold, he should be able to do anything with these resources. Resources are crazy strong. I think we might see it soon. I mean, pretty soon he'll be fully upgraded on everything, and he might just start to push. There's a castle. Heavy CA needs to come in yet for him. Barles is dropping his own castle. What? But he doesn't know any of that's there. So he deletes that. He definitely knows that Classic Pro is building the castle there, though. Also, that's the blacksmith for Classic Pro. Researching the upgrades. That's really funny. So forging is going to be denied. And any other upgrades he put in queue there are denied. Like, usually players aren't paying attention to their blacksmith location. They're just, like, instinctively clicking blacksmith and upgrades. Not expecting your blacksmith to go down. That's kind of a big deal, though, man. Barles will lose the treb, I think. Maybe he won't. And Savar is the plan for Classic Pro. So CA, Skirm, Savar. I don't know if Barles has the eco to deal with this, but it's getting better. Like, Halb Cav Archer is the winning comp there. He just needs to get Halb now, and he really needs more Cav Archers as well. A little surprised Classic Pro's leaving the Bombard Cannons exposed, but he didn't expect Barles to be there. Barles gets heavy CA. Barles gets the snipes. Barles does lose Cav Archers coming to the main fight, though. Still no, like, trebs or anything from Classic Pro to take that out. That would be so good. And now Savar's on the way. Still no blacksmith. So he won't have any attack upgrades. Classic Pro's getting a little bit concerned now. Barles is starting to really start to heat up a little bit. Pikeman's on the way. 170 pop. Barles has more vills than Classic Pro does. Barles is starting to mass Trebs as well. Not crazy, right? They get heavy CA. Yeah. And that's an upgrade that Classic Pro can afford. To have 34 units and not have heavy CA is pretty rough. The stables are queued up, though. I mean, he's ready to go, dude. Only thing he's missing is relics. He's collected 20,000 more resources. Still hasn't taken care of that Treb. All right, can Barles get to Halb before this gets dangerous? I just don't think so. It's already dangerous right now. There's Trebs. There's Bombard Cannons. He'll do what he can to survive. Snipes the Bombard Cannon, but he needs to take the Treb. Savara's in. Savara's 165 HP, 14 base attack. Forging's now coming in as well. Another Bombard Cannon goes down. Just forget Bombard Cannons. Bombard Cannons don't exist for you, Classicpro. Just make Trebs, dude. Unfortunately, he needs to lose units so he can actually get the Trebs out. Like, he's too rich. He's in too good a position. Upgrades are flying in, so he notices that. More Bombard Cannons advance forward with the Treb. Savars will start to get the raid. Barles at 180 pop. His army pop's just not great, though. And his vills are going to start to disappear. And it's going to be full Savar in a second from Classic Pro once his CA go down. Halb is now in for Barles with 45 of them in queue. But Barles is losing so much momentum right now. If Classic Pro just had those Trebs out, this would be his game. But the pop is just too good. He's got so many units in queue. If Barles can get to like 50 Halbs with this, with even 20 CA, I think this gets really dangerous for Classic Pro. Barles knows that. He snipes another Bombard Cannon. He's still holding. He's running out of stone, though. He has no gold, guys. 0 gold. Not even any relics. And now Classic Pro is getting Thumb Ring, which I guess he didn't have. But his CA will get a bit stronger. And people who have Bombard Cannons at home, please have them look away from the screen. Because every single time we watch this siege, a new Bombard Cannon is dying. It's not a good time for Bombard Cannons. But is it a good time for Classic Pro? Barles needs to breathe, so he's just going for it. He doesn't have enough, guys. He doesn't have the gold for more Trebs. He doesn't have the gold. He won't have the more gold for Cav Archers either. And Barles taps out and calls the GG. Again, he just doesn't have the resources. 0 on gold. This is actually a fake gold. You can't actually take that. This gold, I guess you could have maybe taken. But Classic Pro just straight up out-boomed him this game, dude. There were moments where you could tell Barles was clawing his way back into the game, which is a sign that Barles would be very confident moving forward. But Classic Pro had a really great opening. He was able to win water. He played well on land. He was the player we were watching. We weren't really watching Barles too much in Feudal Age and Castle Age. A lot of the times we were just watching Classic Pro move around with armies. And another game where Persians get the win in this tournament. I mean, it feels like such a good such a good map for them. I do think we reached the point where the Persian late game was starting to get a little bit worrying. But when you can boom like that, and you can have that big a lead, you could still get the job done there. And Classic Pro just held full map control. So fun series. 76k res collected there from Classic Pro. Just 58k there from Barles. Not really sure what Barles could have done a bit differently there. I would have liked to see Barles be a bit more offensive in Feudal. Like, Classic Pro never built a tower on the outside. He was never concerned there. Barles didn't really add a lot of Feudal army. He just went for water, and then he just went for spears. So maybe he could have made things a little bit messier for Classic Pro, but he did want to get to Cav Archers as quickly as possible. That's the unit that the Japanese would want. And so I think it's kind of understandable as far as that's concerned. How many CA were actually made? Yeah, so 61 CA versus 70 CA. Yeah, but the difference is like Savar is so expensive. The Bombard Cannons, the Trebs, the castle setup, everything was so good there for Classic Pro. All right, I was correct on the Civ matchup. So 2 of the very best Civs, the 2 powerhouses for a map like this. We've got the Burgundians for Classicpro, and we've got the Bengalis then for Barles. This group is going to be close. It's going to be competitive. Whoever gets relegated it's going to come down to like 1 or 2 games. I'm pretty certain of that, because especially after seeing how Classicpro is playing right now, because I had him as the weakest player in the group. So, yeah, I mean, this win's important. Important for $40. Must be nice to say that you could play a game of Age of Empires 2 and just get $40. But also it's for the, the group standings, and there's also placement prize on top of that. So, Bengalis for Barles, you get the additional fills. You have the armored monks, super, super strong. It's kind of a do-no-wrong type of civilization, though I would say if you make a lot of monks in this matchup, you could have some problems. Because the Burgundians have the early eco upgrades and the cheaper eco upgrades, but then they have the cheaper light cav. So I would be shocked if Barles makes lots of monks. I doubt this will be double monastery. It'll probably just be monks to get the relics. And yeah, 9 relics on the map. So you'll see lots of relic contest, I'm sure. And because it's the final series of the day, and I pretty much mildly discussed the bonuses of the civs, I'll open it up to some questions or comments about TTL as we work our way through the Dark Age. I think that's important. So, Ace says, T90, do you think making TC stone price to be 220 instead of 200 would encourage more towers defensively? No. I also wouldn't love the change. Like, 220 stone still isn't enough to build 2 towers. Right? That's still only enough for 1 tower. I think starting with the amount of stone we have is pretty perfect. And I wouldn't want TCs to change in terms of cost either, so. Who has impressed me the most today? Can I say everyone's looked really, really good? I mean, everyone looked super solid. The Hera Nikov series was not a surprise to me. I think that people are going to be surprised because I'm trying not to spoil too much. They're going to be surprised because Hera's expected to just dominate everyone these days, but I expected a really solid performance from Nikov. I think that's what we got. I expected a great performance from Hera. That's what we got. And like MBL Tato as well. I mean, they played fantastic. Classicpro Barles as well. So there has been no standouts. Sometimes the standout can be the player that doesn't perform insanely well when you expect it. We had that in the previous days, but not today. Sorry if that's a lame question. A lame answer, but I think that's the most accurate one. T90, do you think the games are a bit more aggressive because it is pool play and not an elimination bracket? No, I don't think any of the games have come off more aggressive than they would in elimination stages. I think what you tend to see in elimination is you tend to see a bit more chaos at times because the pressure's higher, but that's only sometimes. I think everyone's played pretty on par with what I'd expect, even if they make it to the playoffs. The only thing that we haven't seen so far from most of the big names has been like a crazy out-of-the-box strat. And so I do think people are going to save whatever that is. Like if they prepared 1 or 2 things, they're not going to want to show that in group stage play. So I think when you've had 5 weeks of group stage play, you're going to see a lot of similar things. And then when playoff comes, you have different drafts. So there's more bans and there's obviously more games played. And then it's like win or go home. And I know we'll definitely see a couple crazy things there. Now, the exception is a player like Dragonstar tried some crazy things for his Yo. Dragonstar is not expected to survive. So any of the players that aren't expected to survive, they're going to be doing that stuff right out the gate. Especially week number 1. But yeah, it's been pretty cool, man. It's been really good so far. I've been happy. Sam, thanks for the prime. Thank you, Fantabulous, for the prime. MT, Octa, thank you guys for the primes. Arlo's just walling the outside now. Classicpro's going to do the same. For those that watched the Tato MBL series earlier, this is more along the lines of a standard play. So you see like 8 or 9 on wood, early eco upgrades, This is, in my opinion, the best way to play the Burgundians. So I did appreciate the creativity from Tato there, so. T90, thoughts on the new CA Pro feature? Oh, it's so good, dude. That feature is so good. I'm so pumped about that. So for those that don't know, right now, like anytime there's a patch, the recorded game is broken forever. The only time you can watch a game is if you're on the correct patch. And they do, for a while there, they're doing like a patch every month or two. And so like crazy tournament games gone forever, which to me is like super depressing, dude. Like this is a game that has lasted 20 plus years. I can go back. I shouldn't be able to go back and watch a game from 1999. Like I could do that right now. I have games. I could go watch a game from 1999, but I can't watch a game from 2024. That's bonkers. And that's sad. That's bad, in my opinion. So the change they made, Capture Age, is if you have a recorded game, you can save it as a Capture Age file. I don't know all the nonsense behind it. And then it can be viewed forever. So you could essentially save recorded games now and save them forever, and you can always watch them with Capture Age regardless of the game patch. So that's really cool. Now, that's going to create a lot of extra work for me, but my goal is actually to download, like, I want to fill tons of storage device, hard drives. I'm going to fill hard drive after hard drive after hard drive after hard drive with all tournaments, honestly, or at least specific games that are worth it. And when I say that's what I want to do, that means I'm going to be asking Hardy to do it. So I haven't talked to Hardy about this yet, but I'm about to buy a bunch of hard drives. And one of the things on Hardy's duties for the week is to just download a crap ton of recs and then save them because I don't have the time. And then, guys, like, it's 2025 now. Hopefully some of you guys will be here in 5 years. And then it's like, we can still go back and be like, remember that crazy game from Nikov and Hera on Shoals? Holy crap, people went monks back then? These days, no one makes monk. You know, like, we could have those conversations. So anyways, I'm very excited that Capture Age has done that. Now, I don't know if it's possible to go back for old recs from, like, 2020, 2021, and 2022 to do it. Oh, no, Hardy was in chat. Oh, crap. Oh. Well, anyways, Hardy, I haven't decided on how I'm going to do that yet, or if it will be you. You were just the first one that came to mind because you're awesome. All right? Scouts for Barles, by the way. And scouts for Classicpro. So let's keep an eye on the resources collected here because, like, one player has the eco upgrades in earlier. That's very nice. The other player gets the additional vills. So their castle age times are basically the same. Barles is going to be up 4 vills. Things should be somewhat even, I would say. Classicpro, did he get loom? No, he didn't. Barles had some idle TC time, I see. Okay. Omni Shambles, what's up, man? Oh, dude, you were the... Oh, man, you were the Aztec clown. The guy who wouldn't mind stone, but bought like 3,000 stone to drop castles. Yeah, that was a good game. That was a crazy game. Thank you for that. Thanks for playing it, and you're welcome, dude. Thanks for the sub. Thanks for a year now. Okay, so I mean, this is a highly execution-based game right now. There's not a big difference between the two. I would say it's a bit easier to play the Burgundians because of the cheap stable upgrades. Like, no one else is going to be able to get like having husbandry right away. Barles is going to have to choose. You can even tell, like, Barles isn't exactly floating food right now. But I think he went 4 on gold so he could buy stuff. And he went market instead of blacksmith for the same reason. We'll see how many relics come in. Any predictions on what the relic count will be in this game? There's 9 relics, 2 players, and they'll be going for relics right now. How's this? If somebody guesses it, and this is big, okay? If somebody guesses it correctly, I'll smile. There you go. That's what I'll put on the line. I will smile approvingly. Hopefully that excites people. Someone says 0-0. I don't know about that. It is wild to me though. Classicpro hasn't walled this out. Like this isn't walled up at all. It's pretty nuts. Husbandry is in now for Barles. Still doesn't have Bowsaw. And so that should be a bit better for Classicpro. He was also faster to the 3 TCs. Lycav is in. There's no Loom. Classicpro is so focused in the middle, guys. He doesn't notice this. He doesn't notice. And oh, there's a Lycav here from Barles. The Lycav there dies. And Classicpro notices now. That Lycav could come over to finish the job on the Monk, though. Oh, no. Oh, dude. Oh, this is why we wall. 3 villager kills from Barles, and he killed the Monk. That's not bad. He'll take that. I also think this Spearman killed a Lycav as that was all happening. It's amazing how things unravel on you. Just the snowball effect of all the things going wrong. Please, nobody guess it correctly. Screw you, Brazed. Screw you, man. Here's a question. What can the Burgundians do against Elephant Archer from Bengalis? Skirms? Monks? Maybe a combination of both? I think that's probably what it is, but it will eventually get to a point. If there's 30 fully upgraded Bengali elephants, you just don't kill them. It's just, they're that strong. And oh man, Barles with 2 snipes there. He's playing this like a home map, guys. He sniped the Vills. 9-2 KD right now. Super smooth eco overall. Hasn't been perfect by any means, but it never is when you're contesting for the relics. And he's put himself in a nice position to pass the Burgundians with res collected. It's a really good sign for Barles. But the eco upgrades are still better for Classicpro, and he did get the first relic at least. So I've tried to go Elephant Archer enough times to know it's not the easiest thing to do. It's all easier said than done. Barles dropping a farm TC. You don't see these every day. All right. Well, I was thinking he would maybe drop a TC on the stone on the front. But he wants farm space, and so there he goes. It seems like Barles delayed making monks this game. He has 2 now. But, like, he hasn't really been active with monks. He's going over this way now to try and snag that relic. He also has this one Lycap patrolling this way, just in case. Classicpro isn't going that way at all. Classicpro's not thinking about the outside. And one of the relics from Barles is actually walled in, too. So he'll at least have that. He's getting this. And now he's going to snipe more monks in the middle! Oh, man, I mean, it is really an art. It's just experience. Like, the army count is there for Classicpro, but anytime he tries to make a move, Barles just jumps on him perfectly. And it's not as if Barles sacrifices his army either. I wish I had a count on how many monks Classicpro has made this game. He's at 0 right now. I think he's been up to like 7, 8. Here, actually, we could look at value destroyed, bottom left. So we can kind of do the math on that. That could be 10 monks. It's probably like 8 monks and then a couple light cav. Or 9 monks or something. Or, I don't know. You guys can math. I'm not here for that. But I like the position for Barles. Again, it's similar to game number 1. It's not like... Like, Classicpro is still within reach. It's still very close. Still very winnable. But I look at this... And knowing what I know about Barles, I'm feeling very good about his position right now. And Classicpro will go Pikeman now, so he can get these relics. He just wants 1. Like, or I guess 2. Come on, he's like, give me that relic, man. And Lycav are going to die, and Barles got a little greedy there. But there was no better time, I think. If there's Pikeman out, there's no better time to try it. Thank you, Mathers. I didn't say do math. I said do math. That should be relic number 3 for Classicpro. You get 4 or 5 relics. You're fine here. There's 9 relics. That's fine. This all comes down to imp still. All comes down to imp. Res collected. Let's just compare the actual resources. I mean, come on. That's crazy. The food count swapping back and forth. Gold is higher for Classicpro, but obviously he spent more of that on monks. And Classicpro prepped to click imp. Should have some decent map control as well. And you're just waiting for him to click. Yeah, he's on the way. So he's up faster than Barles. He's getting Loom now, so he will go middle castle. You can't give Barles time to get to Elephant Archers. And Barles wants that relic. Classicpro will snag it. That monk might not survive. And oh my goodness, there's still a hole back here. And Barles goes back to raid. See, that's just the type of thing that, like... That's just the type of thing that really would frustrate me. If I'm Classicpro. Your focus gets taken out of the middle because of it. And it falls into the category of maybe unnecessary. But he did only lose 1 additional Vil. And now he's going to plan for a Stonewall. But so is Barles in the same spot. And Barles will lose his light cav, snipe 1 more Vil, get out of there. And Barles sniped the monk there from Classicpro. Look at this, guys. I think more players need to do this. Some players who are absolute gods of the game, unbeatable at times, are very late on upgrades sometimes. And I just think... I go double blacksmith all the time these days. You need to get upgrades very quickly in these instances. I think it's fine. You've collected 25,000 resources? What's another 150? Oh, man, and Barles knew the light cav were coming. Had to do this with 1 Vil. He can't. He can't. This other gate will go down. And Barles realizing now he just needs to wall this off. Yeah, double blacksmith upgrades to get no blacksmith upgrades. Classic. But there are 4 ranges. The forward castle's there. Classicpro can make trebs way faster than Barles is prepared to deal with them. And now Barles has... It will be disrupted by the light cap. Classicpro got relics from the middle. He'll have 5 relics, which is more than Barles will have. Classicpro's making trebs already. And if he opens with skirms too... Now, he doesn't know there's Ratha out yet. But if he sees Ratha, he could click Elite Skirm. He could start to prep those upgrades. Right now, this feels like this is for hand cannons. Barles could use the Ratha melee mode to snipe a treb. And it would be such a sad thing for Classicpro. This is his time. Like, that first treb is such a big difference maker between the 2 positions. I wonder if he can click the Ratha and check the upgrades. You can't check to see if they have ranged upgrades, though. Unless they switch to ranged mode. So you wouldn't actually know. The melee mode will do a decent enough job. I think that unit will end up dying, but still, decent enough job. And now Classicpro is just double layering that wall. But yeah, the first treb is out. And we just had pikes researched from Barles. Not pikes, but pikes. Faster attacking Ratha now. And I'm liking Classicpro's position. Funnily enough, though, he really just needs blacksmith upgrades. But, like, bombard cannon, hand cannon right now? Burgundian gunpowder? He's very little on wood, so he won't actually be able to make many trebs and bombard cannons. He's going heavy food, heavy gold. Could work really well. But here come the Ratha. Any other ranged unit never has a real chance to snipe here. But Ratha have that melee mode as well. 156 Vils for Barles? Forgive me for not realizing that. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. And here go the Ratha. Melee mode they go. They're so tanky, guys. And they get 1 treb. Can they get the next treb? Oh, that's so frustrating for Classicpro. He loses 2 trebs to that. Ah, man, it's a frustrating one, too, because he's like, man, if I only had some skirms. Skirms do bonus damage there. Barles could potentially overboom here, though. Let's see. He doesn't have the biggest army. Still a lot of hand cannons on the way for Classic Pro. Hand cannons still do a lot of damage. Man, if Classic Pro just had Bodkin and Bracer on this castle right now. You can tell he went for Elite Custilier here. He wants as much firepower as possible. Does not have Trebs, though. And Barles is just still... His eco is just still cooking. These Ratha are so tanky. They can do so much. Barles up to 175 Vils. And he's desperately diving for the Bombard Cannon, which he won't get. He will not get it. He loses his whole army. Classic Pro is 32 army. But he loses his castle. Man, this is crazy. Also, where's the Bombard Cannon? Did he... Hold up. I don't believe what just happened. Okay, so here's a Bombard Cannon, right? A Bombard Cannon is surrounded by 30 other units. And then there's these Trebs off screen, and they're firing. How? How did that Bombard Cannon get hit? You can't even see it, dude. Like, if you look, you could see a little helmet in there. But you really have to pay attention. It's hard to tell he's in there, but he's in there. That Bombard Cannon. And that Treb shot just somehow came right in and doinked that Bombard Cannon. Are you kidding me? Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Right on the head. Talk about frustrating for the Bombard Cannon player. Oh my god, that's crazy, man. That is so unbelievably frustrating as a player. I can't. And he's probably looking for it in that group. Like, where is it? How? Guys, Barles... Okay, he's deleting Vils now. This is unfortunately what happens if you reboom. Villagers just immediately die from the plague or something. He knows he needs pop. He knows he needs upgrades. And he's going for Elite Battle Elephant now. Now, he could get Mahayana... And then some of his eco takes up less population space. But I think you need to delete Vils and get Mahayana here. And that Bombard Cannon was huge because you need to push right now if you're Classic Pro. And another Bombard Cannon bites the dust. Dude. Barles, I need to credit you because you are a freaking annoying guy to play against, man. You know how to stall out a game. We saw it in the previous game as well. He was way behind and he just kept running out with the CA and sniping. And the Ratha are tanky enough where they can just do this. He says, okay, I'll take that one too. Thank you very much. Back to my base I go. There's Mahayana. Whatever window Classic Pro had to win this game, it may be closing right now. And he just doesn't know it yet. Because this army is about to be ridiculous. Yeah, watch his pop space when Mahayana comes in. And yeah, so he just freed up like 20 extra pop space to make more elephants. The thing is, like, with 5 relics, this is normally very, 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 very good for Classic Pro plus middle control. But this army is gonna be so thunderous, so thick, so fat that Classic Pro will be forced to back away. And as he backs away, Barles is going to have the Trebs taking down everything in the middle. I'm just certain of it. But, I mean, let's think about it on this side. We got Elite Custilier. They're very strong. Bombard Cannons, Hand Cannons, which do decent damage output. There's no Halb yet, which could be an issue. We could also see a Revolution as well. And Classic Pro's walling up. Okay, let's see. Classic Pro is like, is this all he's fighting with? Where is his army right now? He probably has no clue. Oh, man. Okay, Barles will take the fight. If Ratha beat Custilier, then Ratha are truly busted. Yeah, okay, they get mopped up, but they get replaced with the elephants. And you can tell the panic from Classic Pro. He's like, elephants? What? I didn't expect any freaking elephants, and the elephants will just kill everything. 320 HP, 14 base attack. Trebs are going to follow, and there will be a panic and a half from Classicpro to get barracks up to make some halbs for this. But you cannot kill this army with the army you have right now. Army's so expensive. People have been asking a lot today about value. Look at the value now. 8,000 army value from Barles. Just 5,500 from Classicpro. And that's the cost to the army. And generally speaking, the better the value, the better the unit. And Classicpro will try now to get onto Hal, but he'll lose this castle. He could lose these buildings in the middle as well. And the Ratha are still a really decent unit to mix in. And they're also good against Halps. So the reason you don't see this comp all the time is because of the cost. Like, when you had 172 villagers at one point, with all the extra golds and whatnot on the outside, which is what Barles is taking, yeah, you've got some real potential here. And now Classicpro needs to hold. He needs to hold. He needs to hope. He needs to get to Halb somehow. And he needs to save these bombard cannons. Oh, no. Not again. Okay, nice shot. Okay, he could save them. He could save them. He's losing his castle, though. He's losing his castle. Fortified wall is in for Classicpro to stay alive. But he has no gold now. Oh, and Barles is raiding on the outside. I saw he was busting through over here. Wow, that's crazy from Barles. The push in the middle is already good enough. But to also deny this wall and prep raids in the other areas as well is insane. And now you've got that to worry about. You still have to worry about taking back the middle. And 0 on gold for poor Classicpro. He just never expected elephant. Never considered the possibility. The last time I saw Bengali elite battle elephants in a 1v1 was like 2 years ago, I think. In a 1v1, it's rare. In a tournament. I remember a couple ranked games. But Barles just so experienced in this. There may be some people here that remember Barles going for Vietnamese battle elephants against Viper in a couple ranked games somewhat recently. That did happen. I saw those games. Those were really good games. One was against Gurjaras a couple months back. But final fight. Final fight for Classicpro. If he loses these bombard cannons, he's dead. Let's see how this goes. He's got halbs now. Close to full upgrades. He's still getting... Oh, well, actually, no. Those are villagers from Barles that are getting harassed out there, so... We'll see. Bombard cannons are set up to go after the castle. Oh, man, but, like, you now need to take care of the Ratha, because the Ratha can take care of your halbs. And the Trebs hit the bombard cannons again. The Ratha dive in to take the rest of them. They all go down. The Treb will go down. Barles' castle will stay up. And it'll be really tough for Classicpro to reclaim those relics right now. He's going to try to. Right off screen, there's a monk somewhere. But Barles is just so prepped defensively. And also replacing the unique unit, too. When you only have one castle and you have very little on gold, it's going to be tough to make more of those. And the GG's called. Barles wins 2-1. What a fun series, dude. I don't think Classicpro is going to be that disappointed with how things went today. I mean, this final map was on the home map of Barles. He's probably one of the best players in the tournament for a map like this. There's not many players who would do the 172 villager boom, who would build up into elephants like that. There's also not too many players who would snipe that many monks like Barles did. It was really well played. And Classicpro will be happy he snagged a win here because he knows Barles will be great against the rest. If anything, Classicpro will maybe wish that he played game 1 a little bit stronger, but that was even a pretty close game there too. Well, no, actually, that's not true. I don't think game 1 was really that close, but the point is, something to build off of here if you're Classicpro. You get $40 for the win. You're not dead last in the group. And Barles expected to do very well this season, I think. this whole day, like the final sets of the first rounds have actually been a lot of really close sets. There haven't been many stomps, which we've had here or there. So well played, everybody. There's the res collected there. Yeah, like the way you kill that, by the way, is you simply kill it before they get there, which is why Barles sniping the bombard cannons and the trebs was so critical. Classicpro losing those 2 trebs was massive because, like, this castle never fell. This castle probably produced like 30 or 40 Ratha after that. It also bought Barles more time to drop stables and eventually get to the final comp. I think Classicpro needed, like, what he failed to recognize in the early moments of Imp was that his opponent was going for Ratha, and usually you need skirms here. If you have skirms with ballistics, you're doing... That's the unit that does decent amounts of bonus damage against Ratha, so I think 15 skirms with ballistics combined with all of this, which I think is doable if you look back. Like, look at these resources, right? It's very doable. Then maybe Barles doesn't snipe the trebs. Then maybe Barles loses the castle. Then Classicpro advances further forward, sees the stables. Then he knows to add help. It changes the whole game. So really just that moment right there from Barles. I'll just show it again. This snipe. This is when this game was still doable for Classicpro. And then the second those trebs went down, it was just... It was always going to be very difficult. But yeah, well played. And again, there's the stats. And we technically have one more series remaining in the first rounds. That is ACCM and Capwatch. That series will not be covered today. That series will be covered as soon as we can get it. Well played, Barles. So, let's bring up... Yeah, and the Treb sniping the bombard cannon also told me exactly how that game was going to go as well. That Treb sniping the bombard cannon was ridiculous, dude. So lucky for Barles. So, let's bring up the stats now. Chat, we're going to do spoilers at this point of the stream. This is the end of the day. I'm going to talk about Nikov Hera. I'm going to talk about Tato MBL. So if you're someone who wants to watch the VOD and not be spoiled, this is probably the time to mute for at least a couple minutes, all right? We got to end the day. We got to end the round talking about everything. So we're going to do that now. We started all off with the group that Barles was in. And that's how things shape up after the first round. So Sato is at the top of the group. Sato with 3 victories after his 3 over Veleza. Can you guys see this? Yeah, hold on. Let me just make it so you can see all the groups. That makes the most sense. Barles obviously looked good, got 2 wins. Hera also looked very good, got 2 wins. Classicpro and Nikov, though, will be happy that they snagged a victory today. Veleza will be the one player who really needs to step it up. Veleza will be up against Barles in the second round. It should be a really good series. Also, Hera Sato should be sick. All the sets. Super good. But I will say this. Whoever loses between Classicpro and Nikov is in danger. Because they're already only at 1 win here. Group A, all about Leary and Sebastian so far. Yo did get a win, 2 wins against Dragonstar. Those are some great games, but Dragonstar will be happy that he was able to at least get a win on the board. And then Doubt, Margugu are the 2 players who are struggling for wins in that group. And Doubt will play Leary in the second round, and Margugu will play Dragonstar. So, in theory, easier for Margugu to get wins, but Dragonstar got a win off of Yo, so he's no joke. Doubt will definitely need to win versus Leary. Group C, we haven't had ACCM Capwatch yet. They're having scheduling issues, so our broadcast days are Fridays through Monday. Our hope is to broadcast that on Friday or Saturday, and then they'll also have another round. So we will see like Tato, Capwatch, and ACCM Dogal as soon as we can. Very close group so far. 2 wins for Tato over MBL, 2 wins for Vinchester over Dogal, looking very close. And then in Group D, Hart won 3 over Daniel, Dark won 2-1 over Viper, and then Freakin' Andy won 2-1 over Valis. So, same deal. Like, you get swept, you're not happy. You get a win, usually you're pretty happy. But Viper, only 1 win? I don't know if he consider himself truly happy with that. If anything, I think some of the other players that are going to have to play Viper in the future rounds, they might be a little frustrated by that because I think they're expecting Viper to step it up. And now they've got to compete with 2 extra wins from Dark, and they've got to play Viper yet. We'll see. Viper Heart will be round 2, though. That should be really good. See what happens in that group.